Welcome to Mad About Madison. I'm your host, Katie Dudzik. Spring has sprung in southern Indiana, and if you're like me, you are ready for a new adventure after the gloomy months of winter. You usually don't contact a funeral home to book a tour, but Mad About Madison's Talina Mormon found out that Morgan and Nay's Funeral Center is indeed the place to go if you're looking for a fun-filled day trip.
Hello everyone, today I'm here with the wonderful Rosalind Harrell, the Special Projects Coordinator here at Morgan and Nay Funeral Center. Hi, how are you doing today?
Fine, thank you so much.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about this new venture that you guys are setting out for. So this is a different venture for a funeral home. What made you guys get into the touring business?
Well, it's not really necessarily a touring business. It's what it is more so than anything. It's kind of a bridge between people who are going through the grieving process and them returning to normalcy. It really started out in December 2013. Rodney Nay, who is our president and owner of the firm, he and another colleague who worked here at the time thought it would be neat to have a day trip somewhere. And so they decided to take a group of people to see the Nutcracker at the Kentucky Center for the Arts. And they got 55 people, and it was a success. I was on the team at that time. I joined Morgan & Nay in July of 2013, coming from a 41-year teaching tenure in journalism and public relations, but I wasn't involved in that very first endeavor. And but they were really thrilled, and people really liked it. And they saw there was a link here between people smiling, connecting with other people, enjoying camaraderie, fellowship, and they thought maybe we should pursue that. And so in February of the following year, 2014, then I became a little bit involved, and then before I knew it, I became real involved in the project, and then actually took over the project. So it's just simply a bridge between those people who are grieving, perhaps, and then trying to help them return to normalcy by interacting with other people, going places, finding new adventures, and things of that nature. So that is how the original thing. Now we've kind of expanded it another way. Now we are also a community service. It's a service we provide to anyone. It does not have to be one of our clients or someone in a grief support program at all. So it is a community service now. We do not try to make money on the project. We hopefully always try to break even by the end of the year. That's why our prices are within a range people can afford. And it also lets the public see funeral people in a different light. We're not always dressed in black. We're not always sad and going over funeral arrangements and things of this nature. But it lets them see us as their friend, their colleague, their neighbor, someone who's willing to help them and address their needs at this time.
Well, that's great. I think that's amazing for the community. So what type of trips do you guys go on?
We just completed our 83rd trip, and this is our 6th year actually. So we started in 2013. I kind of took over sometime maybe in March of 2014. And since that time, we've been 83. And so we have been musical, we have been sports, we have been cars, you name it. Just for example, I just kind of look in here. We've been to Story Inn, we've been to lots of the Christmas Carol, we've been to the Victorian Christmas in Old Bardstown Home. We always go to Churchill Downs once a year. We don't repeat trips except for Churchill Downs. The only other trip I've ever repeated was Cave Hill Cemetery. It sold out by, like in 2 days. And I just said, I've got to reschedule that. So I did, but otherwise we don't repeat trips. And we have been to Cincinnati Reds. We're going to Louisville Bats this summer, Slater Field. We've been to the Basilica in Florence. We have had a luncheon at our own historic homes here, in Madison. That went over well. We've been to Carr Swope's Museum. I could just probably go on and on with that. We've been to St. James and gone through some of the mansions, et cetera, there. So I do a little bit of history. I do a little bit of music. I do a little bit of what men would like going to the Presidential One aircraft show in Columbus, Ohio, a year or so ago. The Swope's Car Museum in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. So these are things I try to address different genres of people. I don't want just all country music. I'll do a little classical, I'll do a little old time rock, I'll do a little Beatles, I'll do, a variety of things. So we have been, like I said, we've been lots and lots of places. I've only repeated one regular trip, and that was Cave Hill, as I said. And then we do go every fall to Churchill Downs. Sometimes I have to take 2 buses. So that means
wow.
110 people, But so it just, and we go to the Cincinnati Art Museum a lot. We also go to see like the Tiffany collections and various collections that they might have there in the Taft Art Museum in Cincinnati. So I try to do a little bit to address our variety of people that we have.
Wow, that's a lot of different places.
Well, it is, and they're all day trips. So, we leave in the mornings, and then we're always back by sunset, or we leave in late afternoon. We're back, by midnight. So we don't stay overnight. We might do that in the future, but right now we're just happy doing the day. We always make sure we eat somewhere really nice. That's always very, very important. I have this philosophy, and I think it works. That is, you can have an ordinary trip. We hope we don't have any ordinary trips, but if we have an ordinary trip and you have a great meal, dining spot to go to, it's kind of historic or just great food, savory delights, you have a great trip. If you have a great trip but a mediocre meal, you have a mediocre trip. So I really have two tasks here at hand. One is to make sure we have an enjoyable, great attraction, but also we have a great meal to go with it. We don't do Cracker Barrels and McDonald's, and nothing wrong with those. I'm not saying that, but I try to find spots that are unique to the community and the places where we're going to.
Well, that sounds really fun.
It is fun. It's demanding because we have to plan these trips probably 8 months in advance at least, because I do brochures twice a year, and in order to do those twice a year, I've got to book them at least 8 months ahead of time. Sometimes I've had tickets for 1 year ahead of time before, because they sell out. If it's a good attraction, it sells out, and so therefore we're always looking. I have things already booked for the end of the year. Sometimes it's a year away even when I have something booked for that.
Yeah.
But it's a fun job. It's fun, and the people enjoy it, and I think that's one of the most rewarding aspects of it. There's a lot of smiles and thank yous and happy hearts when we get off. And we always take a chartered coach, so that people, well, I should not say always, but 95% of the time, 98% of the time, we take a chartered coach.
So on average, how much do these trips cost?
We try to keep them at $85 to $95.
Okay.
And that sounds cheap, and the reason it is cheap is because we do not try to make money off the trips, but we do try to break even.
Okay.
And so most of the time, the tickets to most venues, it just depends where we're going to. Most tickets will be anywhere from $30 to maybe $75. And then the coach is very expensive. When the coach leaves here at Madison, it can be anywhere from $650, $750 to $1,500, depending on where we go. So 85 to 95, most people can fit that into a budget. And but it also includes the ticket price of the admission or ticket, whatever it might be. It includes the coach transportation. It includes all taxes and all gratuities. So most of the time that people can, if they pay that 85 or 95, then they're set for the day. The only thing we do not include naturally is alcoholic beverages. We're not opposed to someone having a glass of wine with their dinner, but we just don't get in the custom of doing that. So it is as far as financial thing, for the client, the person going, it's a good deal for that. We don't try to make money off of it. But we do want to break even at the end of the year. We try to do that for that.
So the meal is included?
Most of the time.
Okay.
I say 95% of the time it will be included, yeah.
Okay.
Now once in a while, particularly if we're going to Kentucky Center for the Arts, those tickets tend to be pricey.
Okay.
And then we kind of have a wonderful arrangement with Bristol Bar and Grill across the street. We've worked with them for 5 years. So we'll eat there, and I do let the people pay for their own way at that time. So if it's something like that where the ticket is almost already $85 to $95, then we let that people pick up the tab. But that doesn't happen often. Primarily Kentucky Center for the Arts is where that happens.
Okay. Do you have any family trips that you offer?
Don't have family per se. Are you talking about small children? No, we don't really cater to that, because most of the time our trips are Monday through Friday. Not always, but the children should be
In school.
in school. Being an old teacher like I am, the children.
Okay. So what's the lineup for this summer?
Well, we have that already lined up for that. Let me just think here just a little bit on, we've got something going. Okay, in May, we're going to Hello Dolly at Kentucky Center for the Arts. In June, let me kind of cheat here just a little bit. We got some info. Okay, in June, we're going to, close by, we're going to go to Derby Dinner Theater and see the tribute to the Statler Brothers. And that's been sold out. We sell out very quickly on our trips. In July, we're going back to Indianapolis to see the Buddy Holly story. And then, of course, that's the beef and boards. And so on the way home, we kind of have little treats now and then. So on the way home, we're going to stop at Zaharico's in Columbus for some of their famous ice cream, okay? And then in August, we're going to Louisville, the Bats, a Slugger Field and Bats game. And now at Slugger Museum, which is interesting, now you can actually hold, at one time you couldn't, but now you can actually hold Mickey Mantle's bat, Babe Ruth's bat, etc.
Oh,
So I
wow.
think that'd be kind of neat. And then in August, and that's as far as the brochure goes with that, then in August we're going to Nonsuch, Kentucky, and that's the home of the Glitz and the famous antique place there. So we're going to go take a look at some quality antiques and rare antiques and eat at the Glitz. And you probably heard of the Glitz. And then I have things also planned. We're going, naturally we'll go back to Kentucky Derby. I already have people wanting reservations for that. And Kentucky Derby, or Churchill Downs actually, in November. We always go 1st November. I have the Johnny Cash story, got $1 Million Quartet, is coming up. We'll do a boat ride, I think, in October. I'll do the fall, the Oktoberfest boat ride on the Belle of Louisville. And then, so we're always looking.
So do you try to plan these trips for once a month?
We do at least once a month.
Okay.
And sometimes we do two, just depending on what I find, out there. There's a lot of great things that you don't have to have a coach for. You don't have to drive very far at all. In January, I always plan a trip that we don't take the big coach because we never know about snow and the weather conditions. So in January, I try to do a trip that if it snows, we're okay. I can cancel and go that direction.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about that we didn't cover today?
Like I said, we are financially self-sustaining. We don't try to make money off of it, even though we are, for-profit company. Naturally, this is one service that we do not. We also sell, and I'm not trying to sell tickets to anyone. I'm just saying that we do this a lot in case someone in the community would be interested. We do sell a lot of gift cards.
Oh,
Sometimes children, older children, adult children, don't know what to give parents for anniversaries or Christmas, or they don't know what to give a neighbor or a preacher or someone for gifts. So we sell a lot of gift cards and just open gift cards, like for the amount of a trip, and they decide what trip.
Oh, wow.
But it allows us to go, the program does, truly allows us to go extra miles for our clients and community.
Well, thank you for sitting down with me today, Rosalind. I've learned a lot. I think some college students might actually be interested in doing some trips.
Well, we would certainly welcome. Like I said, I've met so many wonderful people, and it's just really gratifying when people leave the coach at night when they get off, or in the afternoon, whatever it is, give you a hug and say thank you. They have a smile on their face. They may be tired, but they're happy tired. And if it's a grief person that needed that outlet, we have provided that touch. It's a sense of normalcy. Again, I'm out, I laughed, I enjoyed. So it's our pleasure to do it.
Thank you. Well, if you would like more information, you can come visit Rosalind at Morgan & Ney Funeral Center here in Madison.
Thanks for the great story, Talina. Check out the Morgan & Ney website for more information on how you can book one of their upcoming day trips. Stay tuned for more Mad About Madison after this quick commercial break. See you in a bit.
Campus traditions are important because they unite the students together. The Hike to the Point is special because it shows the development that first-year students will have over 4 years. So it begins at the bottom of Hanover Beach Hill, which represents the freshman year, and then it ends at the top of the hill at the Baldridge Gates, which represents senior year.
Something else would be the Kissing Rock. Supposedly, if you're dating and you go to the Kissing Rock and you kiss on the rock, you will get married and have a happy marriage.
The snowball fight is as old as Hanover College itself. After every major snowfall, students gather on the quad, lump snow together, and hurl snowballs at each other, just as students did in 1827.
Another one would be the wiffle ball tournament in May term. One of our fraternities puts on a awesome big wiffle ball tournament that lasts, several weeks, and it brings everyone together.
That's the beauty of Hanover College.
If you're looking for an evening of fun while also learning a new craft skill, the Little Golden Fox has something for you. Mad About Madison's Allison Goodwin sat down with owner Kara Fox to talk about all the fun classes and activities offered at this downtown Madison business.
So today I'm here with Kara Fox, who owns Little Golden Fox in downtown Madison. Thank you for coming to our show.
Thank you for having me.
So how did you come up with this idea for your business?
Well, it has evolved. We originally started out as a consignment shop that featured some handmade items. And so the short version of the long story is I was a stay-at-home mom who had crafted, started sewing dresses, and loved to throw a really good yard sale. And people kind of, they knew me for putting all that together and doing it well. So needless to say, my daughter was getting old enough that she was getting ready to start school. And I thought, I'm going to open this store on Main, and we're going to host creative parties, feature handmade items, and gently used items. So needless to say, that was a very small shop. The business took off, and it kind of exploded. So fast forward 2.5 years into it, we had to move. And we landed into this building, which is pretty cool. There's over 10,000 square feet. This used to be a brewery. We walked into the building, and my husband's like, "You do not need a building that big." But my wills and my vision were like, "Oh, but what can we not do?" So we got in here, and needless to say, the retail part did really well. We kind of transitioned out of consignment per se and really got into more vintage, antique, and handmade, as well as classes. And it continued to blow up. We started in a small room, which is over here, on the other side of the building. You could put about 10 to 12 people in there, and we were packing it on a regular basis. So we decided to venture out here, and now we can seat 30. We've had as many as 60 in here. But what we have found, people enjoy the experience of coming to Little Golden Fox, getting to sit, talk, be creative, and there's just something about this building. There's just a really good energy, and I think people come here and they find it relaxing. So needless to say, that part of the business has become kind of our focus, is the class, the teaching. I tell people, you don't have to have skills. When you come in here, you do have to have fun, or at least have the mindset that you're going to have fun. We try not to let anybody get stressed, but I just think people, with Pinterest, Etsy, and this whole creative world blowing up, they want to come and try it. And what I have found is it has it's made my business thrive, but it also gives an appreciation for people who do handmade, artisan type products.
So with that being said, what's your overall goal for your company?
I have a lot of goals, a lot of big goals. My biggest goal, though, is to utilize this building the best way possible. When we bought this building, it was definitely a vision of mine to be able to host the arts community, as anything from the art type, an art show, to music, a venue for music or different type forms of talent. We've had a runway show in here. So for me, I want to continue utilizing the space, growing into the building, and there's still a lot of building that has been untouched. But what I really want to be known for is kind of that launching pad for people who maybe have a small business or a product that they're not quite ready to go open a store to put in, but they want to maybe put it in here and see how it works, and hopefully it will lead them to somewhere else. So that's my I have a lot of vision. It's exhausting. I don't sleep at night because my mind is constantly turning. I always tell people, if you need an idea, come see me because I've got like plenty, and I'm not good at executing, but I'm good at coming up with ideas. So I just want this building to be that creative hub for downtown Madison. Whether it's coming in and finding something that's made by a local artisan or craftsperson, that's exciting. You know, they can take a little piece of Madison with them. Or if it's coming in and just kind of having that creative experience, I want to continue growing that.
Interesting. So I saw you offer a really large variety of classes when I was on your website. Do you teach all of those yourself?
No, I don't. I do teach a lot. I'm not a teacher as far as a degree in art, you know, but I'm kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. Right now, I currently teach anything from the canvas classes to the signs, the custom signs that we make. I do some crafts with the kids, but I have other people coming in, and that's what's really exciting for me for 2019. We have a lady coming in from Louisville who is going to teach a weaving class so that you can make a wall hanging, and you'll actually be working on a small loom. We have Lynn Neal who helps out. I call her, she's part of my tribe down here. She's teaching crocheting and knitting, and she's also working on some needlepoint. And so I've found that I really need to be behind the scenes more instead of teaching. I like teaching, but I also want to be the student. You know, we're working with a local artist to come in and teach some pottery, and not on a wheel, not yet. I know people are anxious to get on a wheel, but just learning the techniques of using the glazes and you know, taking it a little farther than just come in and paint your own like we do now. But I try to educate myself in whatever it is that we're teaching, because ultimately I'm the spokesperson, and I want to be able to tell people what it's like or what the experience is. But I also have realized, in order to grow to the capacity that I want to, I really need to be casting the vision and letting other people come in and teach those. And there's some amazing people with some great talent that are way better teachers than me, so we want to feature them.
Yes, absolutely. So what inspired you to bring the classes that you do offer to your business?
Well, it's kind of neat. As a child, there was a store in town, Joan's Quilts and Crafts. Many people are very familiar with Joan, and I remember going in there. My mom took basket weaving, toil painting, and so that was always exciting for me, you know, and that kind of faded out. You know, we kind of lost the love for handmade to a certain extent. And, you know, there was a time where I thought that the craft department at Walmart was going to close down. There was all these rumors. And then what I found was, you know, Etsy came along, and at one time Etsy was strictly for the handmade world. You know, you got on there and you got to find what crafters were doing, and then comes Pinterest, and that just like blows it all up. And there was a time where I was a little scared because that was part of my business, and I'm like, I don't know, do you want to really share with people how to do your trade? But I think it really made people appreciate, you know, what goes into that. And they're like, you know what, I'll give you $45 because that took like 5 hours of my life and $100 of material, and I still don't have a finished product. So I saw the need and the niche for something like that here in town. You know, my heart and soul is not in selling trinkets. You know, I've done that, and it's just not fun for me. You know, everyone dreams about going to the Atlanta market and supplying a store, and it's a good way to make money, but it's not what really excites me. I want to learn the process. I want to see somebody come in who has no knowledge of how to sew and leave with something feeling proud. And that's what's cool, is the confidence that people gain when they come in here. Or they find out they're really terrible at it, but they had a blast trying. So I just knew that there wasn't a lot of that going on, and it's neat. You know, there's things like that popping up in town, but I don't see that as a threat. I see that as it's only going to make us even bigger and better. So I just knew that people wanted more than just a shopping store. You know, they wanted to come in and have an experience.
What is one of your favorite classes to host, and why?
Oh goodness, I like them all. Probably, I have to say the canvas painting classes. It's so fun to take a group of 15 to 20 people who claim they've never painted and to walk them through a painting step by step, only to see them smiling at the end and like, oh my gosh, I did this. What's even better is I'm not a great painter. So, you know, I always tell people we teach at like a 4th grade level. But I think I make it fun for people, and just seeing someone come in and really just leave relaxed and even more so proud of what they did. Nobody's made $1 million yet. If they have, I hope they will tell me, at least, you know, give me kudos that you painted it here. But I think that's probably the most enjoyable for me. It's 2 hours, you know, you leave with a painting that you'll either laugh at or, you know, hang proudly. But that's probably my favorite to teach. Now on the learning end, I would prefer to be at the sewing machine. I miss the hum of that sewing machine and watching the pieces come together, the process of picking fabric. But unfortunately, time has not allowed for that. So that would be my second choice.
So tell me, what's one of the funniest things that's happened during one of your classes?
Oh goodness. Well, we kind of say what happens at Little Golden Fox stays at Little Golden Fox. I don't know. As far as funny, we have a lot of, there's nothing that really stands out, but we do a lot of laughing in here. I think some of the most memorable are when the men come in and they really don't care. They just let their guard down. And I've had a couple men who totally go rogue and paint their own thing, and they're pretty awesome. You know, I'm like, wow. So that's been fun. We've not had anything too crazy happen. You know, nothing out of the ordinary. But then there's been some things that we'll just keep here at the Little Golden Fox. So.
Absolutely. What is the most difficult aspect of owning your own business?
Finding balance. Finding balance and letting go. You know, to grow. And some people don't want to get huge, and that's not really a goal of mine, but to really grow to the capacity that I want to be at, I have to learn to let go of things, whether it be the accounting or even cleaning. I like to clean, you know, it's my place. And so just being able to figure out where I'm best placed, and that's kind of where we're at it, you know, 8 years. I've had that kind of come to Jesus of you can't do everything because you're going to exhaust yourself. And I'm a mom and a wife, and thank God they kind of love what we do here too. So just trying to find that balance. But I think it's really important to find people that can help you and who you trust. You know, I'm very fortunate to have a family and group of friends that if I need to leave or we get out of town for a week, I don't have to call in here and check. I know they're going to take care of that. And so you have to invest and build those relationships with people too. So that's hard because, you know, when it's yours, it's your name on it ultimately. It doesn't matter what happens here. It all comes back to me. So I want it to be done and done right. So that's the hard part.
So for anyone starting their own business, what advice do you have for them?
Do it. Life's short. I just turned 44 the other day. I just said 44, oh my goodness. And I will never, even if I fail, I will never live with the regret of not chasing my dream. You guys are making me emotional. I say do it, but I say do it with a plan. There are some great resources out there, and mentor. Find people who do what you like and do it well. There's no shame in asking for help. Now, granted, they're not going to give you their business plan necessarily, but if they're really doing it and doing it right, and if they have the right mindset and doing it for the right reason, they're going to help you. I've been very lucky to put myself out there and ask people, you know, hey, can I come help you? Because I want to learn what you're doing. It's probably best to go far away or a little bit out of town. You don't want to go ask your neighbor that's doing the same thing, although it might work. But, you know, I was willing to go sweep floors for Miss Mustard Seed, who I sell her paint. And that was early on, and I knew that I wanted to sell her product and I wanted to do it and do it right. But I really wanted to see how she worked her business and some of the ladies that were in that same field. And so, I volunteered. I drove to Alabama. I helped her stage her booth. It was an amazing experience, and it opened up doors that I never dreamed to kind of network. But, be willing to be the grunt and find somebody who's willing to share, because most likely they've had somebody mentor them. And so I just think do your research. Don't try to copycat somebody. Even though it's similar, you've got to make it yours. You've got to come up constantly with, how am I going to make it different? When we opened the consignment store, there were no consignment stores on Main Street, and within 3 months there were 3, and I was nervous. But it drove me to embrace I don't want to say competitors, but the people that I was working around, but it also made me want to have my best game, going, because I knew their people were going to come into my store too. So, but do your research, but don't be afraid to fail or to lose. I always say, don't lose any more than you can afford to lose. But I lay my head down at night every night knowing that, you know what, I may not do what I dream of doing, but I sleep really well knowing that I'm trying.
And on the other hand, what's the most rewarding aspect of owning your own business?
Oh, goodness. It's definitely the pride that comes with it when you have a successful business, and seeing my family, they're very proud. My husband, God love him, he would love for me to stay home, and with his job I could do that, and be a domestic goddess. But he knows that that's not what my heart is, that's not where I'm led. So having a family that they're like, hey, she's doing it and giving 110, and we're proud, and they support me. So, and then the sense of community that you get when you have a business, especially in a small town, there's no price that you can put on being a part of what's going on in your community. And I'm a firm believer, if you want your business to thrive, you have to be willing to put time out there to build the relationships and to serve, because that comes back into your business ultimately.
Do you have anything else you'd like to share with us today?
Oh no. No, I could talk for hours. It's just, you'd have to field the questions though. But if you're young, I have a daughter who's getting ready to turn 13, and I often ask, what do you want to do when you grow up? Well, she doesn't know. She's like her mom. She wants to do everything. But I think my advice to anybody out there, and whether you're young or not, do what makes you happy. I probably honestly make I make less money from a monetary standpoint than I could be at some of my previous jobs. If you count all the time hours that I put into this, which is 24/7, and it's because I love it. It's not because I have to. If I could never be paid for my time, but there is no greater joy than looking forward to going to work. I can honestly say, out of 365 days, there's usually 10 days throughout the year, like, I've had enough. I just want to hide. 10 days of that compared to what I had in some of my previous jobs, it's just unheard of. So, find what makes you happy. Now, granted, money is a good way to find things and to get those things, but that's not the only measure. Find what makes you excited, makes you want to get up and go in the morning.
So it was great talking to you today, and thank you for letting us come down to your beautiful business.
Thank you. Come check us out. We got a lot going on, so a lot of changes, but thanks.
That's it for this episode of Mad About Madison. Happy spring, everybody. I'm Katie Dudzik, and I will see you next time.
My hometown.